Hello, 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 everyone. I think we're live. Boom. I'm getting the word out about the stream, but we got our defending champion, Codyf13, taking on a new challenger, MichaelO. I believe MichaelO has won some pretty big tournaments over in Great Britain. You got the bracket on screen. This is, I believe, the second game that has been played for this. And we are doing a top 24 this week, so we just added 8 extra players in, and the top 8 got essentially a first round bye. Just because we actually got to 100 players. If we get to 150, we'll fully do a top 32. So yeah, sign up, join in the Discord, which is in the description of the video or the stream. You can also, in the description, view the lists and this bracket, which I'm showing on screen. Let's go and take a look at the lists while they get set up. So this is Cody's. Cody's our defending champion. He was playing Sabine last month, but this time he's switched over to Boba. And this is a pretty interesting Boba list. He's got Commission in there as a one of. He's got Bounty Guild Initiate. He's got Ruthless Assassin. Some really, really interesting cards. I think all meant to trigger Toro Calican a bunch. Interestingly, he's got 3 Zuckuss, and I don't think any copies of Forlom. So we'll see how that one works out. But with Energy Conversion Lab, it seems like it's a lot better. He's got 3 copies of Maul in there, and then basically like a lot of the other stuff that you expect Boba to be on. And he's got Palpatine's Return in the sideboard. And this is Michael's list. It's Boba Yellow. It's also got some interesting stuff in it, like Snapshot Reflexes. Not something we see a ton of. He's on 3 Forlom, 2 Zuckuss. Looks like 3 copies of Lurking TIE Phantom in the sideboard, but none in the main. So it looks like they're rolling up, and we're about to get started here. Let's see. I'm just going to make sure I can get to see the hands, so you guys can all tell what's going on. All right, and Michael did draw the Snapshot Reflexes in the opening hand. I'm excited to see how that one works out. And the Bounty Guild Initiate for Cody. This does not look like a great hand for Cody. And he's, yeah, like no 2-drop unit. He could play like a Bounty Guild Initiate turn 1, but that's not an ideal turn 1 play. It looks like he decided to keep it, so I don't think... Cody might have mulliganed actually while I was on the list screen, which would make sense, because I'm definitely throwing this one back if I were him. And Cody, I think, is deciding whether or not he even wants to play this Bounty Guild in the shit. It looks like he does not want to. He does have a decently strong play to ECL the 7th Fleet Defender into the Mercenary Gunship, which is what he might do. And yep, it looks like he's going to go for that. And he does get to play the Bounty Guild in the shit here if he wants on the back end. If anything, it at least gives him a target for the blasters he's got in the resource row. But I doubt that's going to happen. 4 Lom in hand for Michael is probably just going to run it over. Cody does pick up a mercenary gunship here, which does give him a play. He's thinking about resourcing the fire spray, which would hurt. Is he gonna resource that mercenary gunship? I guess he is. And he maybe just relies on playing Surprise Strike and No Good to Be Dead to try and get some value here. And so the No Good to Be Dead is probably gonna not get much. Maybe he's gonna go for the blaster out of the resource row just to hit base. And yeah, he does. I guess rather use that than Surprise Strike at this point. Forlom still trades into it and survives. Although it does take a bit more damage. A barrage on the Boba next turn would actually kill both these units for Cody. So Cody's not in the worst scenario, but he's certainly behind at this moment, I think. But this, I mean, Boba can always come back from oblivion. Not even gonna attack with the 7th Fleet. I don't think he needs to. I think that's the right move. I think your plan is probably just flip Boba and try to barrage and take these units out. Green, surely the control here. I think so, yeah. We saw the deck lists. It's not like Cody's running a ton of big stuff, but he certainly is running more stuff for the late game. I didn't play a ton of Boba in set 1, but as I recall, the Boba green was generally favored into it slightly, but maybe not even. Players are taking a lot of time with their resources here. But we're finally going into 5 resources. Both these Bobas are going to come out here. And ooh, looks like Waylay being used, not even going for the barrage line. I guess like theoretically he could go for barrage later when he flips the Boba and goes back up to 5. And that's not bad. No Zuckuss in hand for Michael to capitalize on this 4 Lom. But he does have No Good to Be Dead to stop the 5 resource play. Seventh Fleet is just gonna hit for 3, and then I don't believe. Yeah, Michael hasn't killed anything of Cody's here yet, so his Boba's not quite online. And I don't think he has a way to get there with this hand. Or no, he does. He does actually. Surprise Strike Boba into Boba does turn it on, and would let him get that Boba unit out as well. So I think this is ended up being a pretty strong turn for Michael. But the barrage in hand next turn. The counter No Good to Be Dead is actually going to prevent that play as well. So both Bobas are going to live. Barrage next turn. can clear the Boba small unit plus the 4 LOM if he does it on Boba. Or we can see Fire Spray. Yeah, it's an aggro leaning green compared to the 54 card version. Yep. Yeah, this is not 54 card Boba with the 30 health base that we saw in the UK. This is good old fashioned American Boba with the green, with the energy conversion lab. 50 cards. Actually, I didn't count. Maybe it isn't 50 cards. Someone go check. So my instinct is probably to go for the barrage play here, but I don't know if that's correct. And it looks like Cody is going for that as well. Yeah, it's just going to clear both of those. Next turn, Maul is going to be online, and Maul can clear the Boba leader. And I think that barrage play might have actually gotten, maybe not fully stabilized, but pretty close. Michael has a 1 health advantage, realistically actually a 6 health advantage because of the base differential. But just in terms of what he's done, he's only done 1 more. And the 7th fleet, there's not an easy answer to the 7th fleet. The best one is probably like Cantina Bouncer it, and that doesn't feel amazing because you're just giving it the shield back basically, but preventing the damage. And here comes Zuckuss, and that's actually a big threat for Michael. It's funny that there's a US versus UK vibe to Boba Green. Yeah, totally. Do you play the fish and chips version or the freedom version? And Cody's going to take initiative here. He's got the Maul online next round. Maul can clear either of these threats. If he clears the Boba, he actually survives. But if he does that, he lets that Zuckuss get a hit onto the base. And if he just plays the Maul straight away, then that Zuckuss is going to get cunninged, I think. So, while we did say the barrage was a pretty big swing, it's certainly not over yet. Michael has definitely the chance to totally retake this game here with the cunning and the Zuckuss on board. There are other plays that can happen here. I believe there's another blaster in the resource row, which could come onto Boba, and then Boba could kill the Zuckuss and survive, and then we would go back up to 6 and could play Fire Spray. So that's another play that could happen. I think either way, though, there's no way to stop Michael from getting in an attack with cunning this round on either one of these units. I'd probably be tempted to go for that blaster play, though. And it looks like Surprise Strike. Surprise Strike accomplishes effectively the same thing as going for the blaster. It's a bit less resource efficient, but it doesn't really matter that much. And I might be wrong. You might not have another blaster in there, in which case, let's see. All right, this is another play that happens as he goes. Is Boba an underworld unit? He is indeed an underworld unit. Yeah. So yeah, he just goes Maul in and then uses the Maul to put the damage on the Boba. That was, I always forget the Maul has that ability. So now, I mean, like I was saying earlier, Michael has the chance to cunning here. And he can get an attack into base with this Boba. But he also has to answer this Maul. And bouncing it back to hand with the Cantina Bouncer is not, like, the ideal play here. One overwhelm. Oh, yeah. They did miss that. Yep. So Michael should be at 11. So it looks like, unless I totally misread it, it looks like the cunning was played to bounce the 7th Fleet and to buff the Boba. So now Boba's going to hit for 11 here. And he does get to ready to, which means he gets to play this 7th Fleet. So now we're getting very, very close to Michael just being able to win. So Maul can clear this Boba here. 7th Fleet is going to hit and go in for 21. Michael's draws here are not amazing. They're not going to win him the game. But he also really basically just needs to find Fire Spray, and then he does win. Michael is 19 away from dying. So Cody has 11 on board, and he has ways to get a lot of damage out of nowhere. He actually, now that I'm doing the math, I think Cody actually can get to lethal this turn. If he goes Surprise Strike, Boba, he can't do it fast enough though. He does actually have to answer this Boba. So he's going to go Surprise Strike. Surprise Strike, Maul, Boba, and Fire Spray all hitting into the base would be lethal by my math. But it would be Boba plus 7th Fleet would also be lethal. So he has to answer the Boba here. And go Surprise Strike basically just to get extra damage in. It's a fine play here. 7th Fleet goes in for 3. Fire Spray comes down. And I think Bouncer is just going to come in and bounce the Fire Spray. Yep. Surprise Strike is lethal here. Hotshot Blaster is also lethal. Cody can hit 4 into the base, but then he's opening himself up to vulnerabilities. I don't know if there's any Sentinels in this list, so I think Michael's going to take this one. But Cody does have a chance here to survive. I don't know everything that he could draw. He certainly has more copies of Barrage, which would give him some reprieve. And he did not draw Barrage. And I don't think he has a way to answer these space units here. Snapshots. Oh yeah, Snapshot. Snapshot is also lethal for Michael. He didn't grab them, but he's got enough damage on board, and I don't think there's enough ways to answer all of it. So I think Michael's gonna get this one. Cody did have a pretty abysmal opening hand. It was our Hotshot Blaster in the resource room. There is. Yep. Which means we're going to game 2. And our defending champion, Codyf13, is down 1. Let's go and take a look at these deck lists so we can look at the sideboard. For Michael, I don't know if you want Lurking Tide Phantoms in this matchup. I don't think you do, in fact, especially not with ECL. Maybe you bring in Boba Fett's armor. Maybe you bring in Change of Heart. It seems like No Gonna Be Dead was able to do some work for him last game, so maybe he brings that one in. On Cody's side, Cody's got some really interesting ones in the board. He's got his own armors as well, which might come in. He's got one of Confiscate, which if he expects the armors to come in from Michael, then maybe he brings those in as well. Traitorous is kind of fun in this matchup. Palpatine's Return I don't think comes in. People are requesting for me to talk about my prediction bracket after the event, and yeah, I'll do that. So let's just look at the normal bracket, and unfortunately predictions are closed, but we did have a few people submit predictions. It's sometimes a tight timeline to get them in because there's often not much time between what decks we know people are playing and when the first match starts. So usually it's not a ton of people that get them in, but this is what we have here. We got it's top 24. We had 100 players, so we decided to expand the top cut to 24 players. I believe everyone that got in was 17 points, I think, at least. And most people were 7-1. I think there were a couple of 5 and 3s that made it. But it's just there were people had busy schedules, and we had so many people, and they were doing so well that I decided it would be the best thing for the league to expand. So yeah, okay, well, and it looks like we are going into game 2 here. Where can we see season 5 final? The season 5 finale is on this channel. It was streamed a couple of weeks ago. If you go into the channel and go into live, it does it. It doesn't put it under videos usually, but it's under live. So you guys are seeing the right screen, right? Yes, you are. Okay. All right. And this hand looks, I think, a lot better for Cody. He's got an actual turn 1 play. He's got the 7th weight defender again. And MichaelO's play is just going to be Bazine, which I guess Bazine might, or no, Cody's going first. This is the Bazine can't take the turn 1 play. Yep, here he comes. There's the Bazine. Bazine can't take the turn 2 play in the 7th Fleet Defender if Michael chooses, but there's lots of 3-drops in this list, so. All right, going into a new round. And it looks like nothing was hit there by the Bazine, and good thing because another 7th Fleet Defender on top for Cody. And here's the 7th Fleet, not having to use the ECL. Whoa, sorry about that. Not having to use the ECL this early in the game. It's a good thing. Bazine just takes off the shield on the Crafty Smuggler, but there's really no follow-up. Looks like Michael's only plays are No Good to Me Dead or Waylay. And it's just going to be Waylay to block the 7th Fleet Defender. Crafty Smuggler just trading into the Bazine there. And Michael, usually the aggro deck here has not been able to really establish a presence here and has not been able to do any damage. Looks like Greedo coming out. Forlom, on the other hand. In Forlom with the Zuckuss in hand for Michael. So we could see the ambush Zuckuss. And Cody can play one of 2 3-drops, either Toro or the 7th Fleet. His deck has a lot of bounty hunters, so he might be more heavily oriented to Toro. It looks like he's going to be using the ECL to take out this Forlom. Not going to take any chances of the Zuckuss coming down. Bounty Guild Initiate might go crazy here if he had it, because I would allow the Toro to be ready. Hotshot Blaster picked up for Cody. Let's remember that one. Cody's got the Hotshot Blaster in the resource row. Second Forlom though in hand for Michael could be impactful here. It could take out the Toro. And then he's ready 1, so he gets to have the No Good to Me Dead online. Yeah. So here comes Toro, or Forlom, likely into Toro. Yeah, looks like it. Boba's going to ready a resource, and then when Boba flips, he could theoretically ready 2 more. So, I mean, Cunning's not going to be useful, but theoretically, he could go for a Cunning. I think more than likely, we're just going to see No Good to Me Dead when Cody flips his leader. And here he does. And there's no good to be dead. Yep. Drawing into the Blaster Toro on the arena. Yep, that's a pretty good one. No other bounty hunters in hand to make this the Toro useful though. Here you see 7th Fleet coming down, and then Michael flips his leader. Cody has the chance to be really greedy here and go Surprise Strike into Boba with the Greedo, and if the Greedo flips an event, then he actually gets to kill the Boba. Instead, he's just going to go to base. And Michael returns fire. And on 5 resources, turn 4, we finally had first blood in this game. And there's the resupply a few turns too late. Relentless Pursuit is really interesting here. I don't know if you played on a 4-lom with just 1 health, but being able to shield your Boba is pretty strong. But also, unlike last game, Cody's actually struggling to deal with the with Michael's Boba. As in, he doesn't have the no gonna be dead this turn. So the Boba is going to do whatever he wants. 3 resources expended for the Relentless Pursuit for Cody, and he is just going to capture this 4-lom. We didn't have a single hard control deck. This guy ran only 2 care for soft. I don't know what you'd call Hondo. I'd call Hondo at least soft control. Yeah, nothing bigger than Kira / Hondo. Or I guess Palpatine. Palpatine is kind of harder control. But it's not like it's not hard to the extent that like the Vader Blue was last format. Seven Fleet Defender coming down. Boba going to base. Gets to ready 2 resources. Not much he can do. He can play Bazine. And this Greedo is just going to base. Instead of trying to kill things. And we're quickly getting to a point where Cody really needs to stabilize. If he keeps taking hits, he's not gonna make it. The Boba is gonna be ready next turn, and Barrage, that's big. Barrage, Surprise Strike, Syndicate Lackeys, these are all tools that can be used to deal with things here. The Boba attacking with Surprise Strike into the other Boba does kill it. Syndicate Lackeys kills the Cantina Bouncer and it survives. Barrage can do any number of things. We also had the chart deck, which was kind of controlling. But it is now. Does Michael have the initiative? Yeah, I think actually Michael does have the initiative. So we're just gonna go Boba into base. The Syndicate Lackeys here is a pretty powerful play, I think. That or Barrage, but I don't think you need to Barrage here for any reason. So yep, Lackey's gonna go in, take out that bouncer, survive. Fire Spray coming in for Michael. But I mean, Fire Spray does get answered here. Not immediately, but, or I guess, yeah, actually it does get answered immediately by the Spry Strike. Yep, Sunfleet does lose the shield. So, Cody's actually doing a really good job of stabilizing here. We should remember that the Forlom is under this Boba. So if the Boba ever does die, the Forlom does come back, which is kind of scary. But at this point, it's looking kind of unlikely that that Boba is going to die, at least anytime soon. And ooh, that is not a great draw for Michael. Actually, it's kind of okay if you want to sacrifice everything, but there's so many ways to deal with that Toro that I just don't think it's going to matter. And Cody's got his own Fire Spray, so he can start putting the pressure on. But in terms of just like raw card advantage, Cody's up 3 cards right now, and all of them are on the board. There's 3 for Toro. We might just see another Syndicate Lackeys come down and just wipe him out. Although you don't, if you do that, you don't get to play Fire Spray this turn. Resource Initiate, they're right. There's an argument for it. It lets you play like 2 5s with Boba. And it doesn't really do much right now. So I think there's certainly a strong argument for it. And here's Bazine from the resource row. Probably going to clear that Fire Spray, but it feels so bad leaving all those tools in hand. And it looks like he's actually going to take the Barrage. And Traitorous, okay. Traitorous is actually pretty strong here because of the Bounty Guild initiate. So now he's maybe he's glad he kept it. We'll see if he even goes for that play, or if he just goes for the Fire Spray plan or something different. Yeah, they do need to replace the resource. Yeah. All right, decision time for Cody. I'm probably going for the Traitorous if I'm him. Ooh, 3. Does he have a blaster? He does have a blaster. So he's gonna kill Toro, I guess, and then ready, and then play Fire Spray. Yeah, I guess that works. That is a pretty strong play. Not as fun, but you know, it makes the Boba stronger. Although it does increase the chances that the Boba dies, which you really want to avoid. In fact, actually, with Surprise Strike, Michael can just kill this Boba here. But let's see. Might just not be enough. Because I don't believe the ambush triggers on the 1-4 alarm goes back, right? Yeah, it looks like they're not triggering it, so. $11 damage left on Michael's base. 13 on board. Cunning, I guess, exhausts both of them. Yeah, that does work. He's one resource off being able to. Looks like we're gonna have a discard from the cunning. And it is the waylay. I was gonna say he's one resource off of being able to waylay his own Fire Spray and then play it back. Lackey's just gonna make that 4 llama non-issue. Greedo. Yeah, we go into a new round, and there's Maul. I think this one's over, folks. And in the Battle of the Bobas, we'll be going to a game 3. And yeah, Michael calling it. And Codyf13, our reigning champion, now facing his tournament life. All right. It looks like we had a result from another match come in. Buku took out Sneeze 2-1. USA, USA. All right. Game 3, folks. Cartel Spacer. Crafty Smuggler. No spoilers. Unless it wasn't streamed. Yeah, I don't think it was streamed. I don't think they ever posted a stream for it. It might have been recorded by someone, so sorry for the spoiler, I guess. And the ECL being used early again. Doesn't even block damage this turn. And 3-drop, it is 7th Fleet. 2 from the smuggler, and then Greedo comes down. Ooh, double Toros. This is a weird hand for for Cody. On Michael's side, Cunning can come down this turn. And it looks like the Boba's armors did come in for Michael. We'll see if he keeps it in this hand. He does. All right. 7th on 7th action there. And this is actually a very aggressive start for Cody. Both sides playing a Toro here. And where is this crafty going to go? It could go into Toro. It looks like it is going to go into Toro instead of the base. So now an attack from either of these 3 power units does kill the Toro. Ooh, Hotshot Blaster. That's going in the resource row. Remember that, folks. All right, 5 resources. Both Bobas can come out here. Michael's got the Boba's armor though, and that's big. Toro goes into Toro. And now Zuckuss can actually ready this Toro, which I think might be the play that that Cody's going for. I was thinking Cody might have Barrage, because Barrage could have taken out both 7th Fleet and Toro from that position. All right, Boba flip here is going to get met by the No Good to Me Dad. That at least lowers the power of the armor. As far as other plays go, I mean, Cantina Bouncer is an okay one. You could just play the armor, but he doesn't get to play anything else. Cunning is just kind of okay. Cody's judging phase first units very well. Yes, he is. He knows his position in this game, and he's not going to win by throwing everything into the face. And it looks like Michael's just going to play the armor here. And oh, yeah, he has the blaster as well. So now that Boba is really big, but it won't get to attack for 2 turns. So Cody's got some time to figure out what he's going to do about it, but after that, that's an 8 attack Boba with the armor on it. And he actually can get a ton of damage in at this point. He's got Zuckuss, and Zuckuss is going to take a damage to reset the Toro. Toro plus Greedo is 6 more damage. And Michael's now up to 17 on base, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 on board, plus 2 Hotshot Blasters in the resource row now for Cody. Wow. And the Fire Spray in hand as well. Cunning here is can stop some of the bleeding. But now Michael has to figure out what he's going to do about this massive army of bounty hunters. Cunning is going to go in and exhaust 2 units here. And possibly bounce the 3rd. And yeah, it looks like he's going to bounce the Toro. These 2 units together can do 5. Potentially 9 with the blasters. And then another 5 potentially could come down also instead of the blasters for the Fire Spray. So we could see Michael push to 27 here. And it looks like, oh, we're going to see Blaster instead. And okay, here comes Bazine. None of those cards are immediately threatening. You don't like to see any of them, but you're not particularly worried that you're going to lose the game right now. But I think Cody is in a position where it's going to be really hard to stop him. He's got, I mean, let's see. So I'm trying to think. Can Michael get like a one-shot next turn with this Boba? So Boba's 8. With the 7th fleet, Cody's going to go to 11. He takes the barrage here. So he would need to get 14. So I don't think there's possibility of a one shot here. But it looks like Cody just claimed because he knows he has the 2nd Hotshot Blaster in the resource row. And that plus Zuckuss is just game here. So it doesn't matter. Cody is going to get a chance to redeem his title. Moving on from the top 24 here. Boom. Hotshot Blaster. And that's it. Congratulations, Codyf13. For making it all the way. And congrats to MichaelO for taking this to game 3 and making it a tight one. Let's pull up the bracket here. So Cody got it 2-1. And there we go. So we've had 3 matches completed so far. 2 Moons beat Sobek with Cad Red, our only Cad in the top cut. Moving on. We had this one that we just watched, and we had Buku taking on Sneeze, winning 2-1 with Sabine over Han 2 green. So people wanted me to run through my predictions. I didn't put like a ton of thought into them, but I'll run through them. I'm 1 for 2 so far, or 1 for 3. So let me just get that window capture going. I'm going to cut off these ads. You want to run ads on the channel? Pay me. So here was my prediction. I did have Lev winning the whole thing with Hondo. So we'll see if that happens. But so for I'll just go top 24 and then onward. So for Naku versus Kotal, I'm not super familiar with Naku's deck, and I am super familiar with Kotal's, and I know Kotal's a great player, so I'm mainly relying on Kotal's skills here to win that one. Dylan versus Eroth, Han versus Sabine. I think Han is just generally favored into that matchup, especially like this is Han 1. It's really hard for Han to lose that one, I think. And I know Dylan's a great player, so I went with that. Humar versus I'm So Humble. This is just a Sabine mirror. Humar's actually negotiated with I'm So Humble to get his penalty for his late list submission revoked. So it will be a fair fight, but I still think I'm So Humble I just know him better as a player, so I went with him. But really it could be a coin flip there. The other player here playing Han Yellow versus Boba Green. I ended up picking the Boba Green because I think that the ramp means it's not gonna. I just don't think it has to worry too much about the DJ Tech combo. So yeah, the Buku versus Sneeze game. This is the one I actually got right. I just think Sabine is favored into this matchup here. We saw it, I think, happen at least once last season, and Sabine got it pretty handily. The Han green is just I just don't think it's as good as aggroing it. This one, which we just saw, I actually predicted wrong. I thought Michael would get it, just because I think the Boba yellow right now is I don't know. I think it's I think in the grand scheme of things, I think the Boba yellow is great, but perhaps looks like I definitely underestimated the Boba green here. The other game, Two Moons versus Sobek. I thought Sobek would win this because I think Kira should be favored into this CAD deck, but the CAD deck definitely can steal games, and it looks like that's what happened here. And then the other game, Wayun versus Vika. I predicted Vika because I know Vika, and I think his deck is gonna match up well into this Boba yellow here, and I know he's a great player. Moving on to top 16, we had Gerald versus Kotal. This actually happened last top cut, and Kotal won, so I think he's gonna win again. Then we had Sip versus Dylan, and I ended up picking Dylan for a similar reason that I picked Dylan in round 1. I just think the Han 1 is favored into these lower to the ground decks like the Han 2 green. Then we had Ferrix19 versus I'm So Humble, and I picked we talked about this match party, Sabine versus Han 2. I think Sabine gets it. The Churret Blue versus Boba Green. I think the Boba Green gets it, but I mean, I could be wrong. But I just think I don't know if the Churret deck has what it takes here. Then I have Han 1 beating the Sabine Green here for same reasons. Han 2 Blue versus I had as Boba Yellow, but it's eventually going to be Boba Green. I think in both those matchups, actually, I think the Han 2 Blue is favored. So I picked Jonah to win that one. This would have been a Kira matchup, Kira Mirror in my position. So it's going to be Kira versus the Cat deck that's already beaten other Kira. So I picked Sobek as a Kira player, just basically in coin flip. And I think On Demand is probably going to, I don't know. I think Kira should be able to beat Cat, but I'll need to take a look at the matchup that was either streamed or recorded by Jonah to see what happens. And then we have the Hondo versus the Bosk. And this is a matchup we actually saw at Gen Con, and the Hondo took it. I think it'll be a close one, but I do think I do know Lev's been working a lot in the Hondo deck, and I think he can get it here. But this would be a close one if it does happen. Moving on to top 8, Kotal versus Dylan. I ended up picking Kotal. I think the control deck here just is going to end up beating the Han deck. I think it can go longer. The Han deck can go long, but I think that Kotal's going to end up taking it here. Speen versus Boba. I think Boba, just as the mid-range deck, is favored here, but really, it might not be. It might be pretty close here. So that's why I picked Spat Pad. Han 1 versus Han 2. I picked the Han 2. I think it. I don't know. I'm not actually sure how this one goes, but I think in theory the Han 2 should be favored because it can play things like Great Dragon. Then we have Kira versus Hondo, and I ended up picking the Hondo here. I think this one really could go either way. But like in my experience, I think so. We saw this in Gen Con, and it was actually Kira that ended up winning. But I've also played like a lot of like Kira versus Hondo games myself, and they end up being, actually favored for Hondo in my experience. So I think a good Kira player can definitely win, but I think Lev's also a really good Hondo player, so I think he's gonna get that one. And then top 4, I actually forget who I had for the top 4. It actually just says it at the top. Never mind. So top 4, I did have Kotal over Spat Pad. I think for the same reason that I had him over Dylan, because I think the control deck is gonna be better than the mid-range one here. And then I had Lev taking it over Jonah. I think that one would be close, but I think the Hondo can probably go further into the late game, but I would be open to being proven wrong. And then I picked Hondo because I want to see Hondo win. I honestly don't know how it would match up into Palpatine Green. Realistically, the Palp Green might actually be favored there, but I just think it would be really cool if Lev won with Hondo. So thank you all for tuning in, and remember to always take the initiative. And that'll be all for this one.